What if I told you the biggest reason you feel stuck right now isn't a lack of motivation, but because you've been chasing the wrong kind? Forget fleeting hype. The Stoics knew the most powerful force in your life isn't passion, it's action. Quiet, disciplined, daily action. When the world screams at you to wait, to overthink, to stay comfortable, the Stoic path whispers, move. Do you walk in on tone? Begin and meter durant, because the only way out of that rut is through motion. In this video, you're not just getting ideas. You're getting 7 timeless Stoic lessons that will pull you out of inertia, smash your patterns of delay, and reconnect you with a deeper drive, one rooted in virtue, purpose, and unshakable inner clarity. These aren't just concepts to ponder, they are rules to live by. And once you start applying them, you'll notice a real change, not just in your routines, but in your sense of control, your peace, and your confidence. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, unmotivated, or lost in distraction, this is your wake-up call. Hit that like button, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, and let's dive into the ancient path that still holds the power to change your life. Starting today. Number 1, discipline yourself. The reason most people feel out of control isn't because the world is too chaotic. It's because their inner world lacks order. The Stoics believed if you don't rule yourself, something else will. Your impulses, your emotions, your desires, your fears. Epictetus, who had once lived as a slave, understood this profoundly when he said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." To him, discipline wasn't a restriction. It was your key to freedom. A liberation from being tossed around by every craving, every whim, every distraction that drags you further from your purpose. Look around you. How many people are just drifting, scrolling endlessly, postponing what truly matters, giving up when things get hard, and then wondering why they feel unfulfilled? That's not a life. That's a slow drift into regret. The Stoics called this kind of living a betrayal of your true self, because deep down, you know you're meant for more. You know you have power, but power without discipline turns into potential wasted. Now imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and don't wait for motivation. You don't ask how you feel. You just act. You train your body. You feed your mind. You take one step toward your purpose, not because you feel like it, but because it's who you've decided to be. That's discipline. And that's the moment your life changes. The moment you stop reacting and start creating. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, yet he lived like a servant to virtue. No entourage, no indulgence. Just focus. He woke up early, reminding himself, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. That's how seriously he took his mission. And if a man with the power to command armies could still discipline himself to rise early and write in his journal, what excuse do we really have? Discipline isn't glamorous. It won't go viral. No one applauds you for saying no to sugar, or yes to 20 push-ups, or waking up at 5 a.m. But each act, done in silence, builds a quiet, unshakable power. You become someone you can rely on. You start to trust yourself. And that trust, that self-respect, is worth more than any external reward. Let's break it down even more practically. You want to change your life? Start by changing your standards today. Wake up and make your bed. Not for the bed, but for your mind. Read 1 page of philosophy. Journal your thoughts. Resist the urge to complain. Push your body just beyond comfort. These aren't chores. They're declarations. Each one says, I am not a slave to circumstance. I am the architect of my character. It's not supposed to be easy. That's the point. Seneca wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Discipline is the resistance training of the soul. Every time you choose to act instead of wait, to focus instead of scroll, to persist instead of quit, you're not just being productive. You're becoming stronger, more resilient. And here's the truth. No one's coming to save you. No mentor, no book, no motivational speech will build your discipline for you. You must choose it. Daily, repeatedly, in the small things and in the hard things. That choice is the forge in which greatness is built. Not in comfort, not in chaos, but in quiet, consistent, deliberate action. So the next time you feel stuck or unmotivated, ask yourself, am I waiting for a feeling, or am I ready to take command? Because your future doesn't need more inspiration. It needs your discipline. And if you begin now with full effort, no excuses, you'll look back one day and thank yourself. Not for dreaming, but for doing. Number 2, stop putting things off and being lazy. The Stoics were merciless with procrastination. To them, delaying action wasn't just a harmless habit, it was a spiritual failure. It meant knowing what must be done and choosing not to do it. Seneca warned us clearly, while we are postponing, life speeds by. And that's the real danger. Not that you'll never start, but that you'll keep waiting until your best years are gone, leaving only the echo of intentions that never became action. Laziness often wears the disguise of overthinking. You keep planning, researching, waiting for the perfect moment. But as Marcus Aurelius said, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. At Ray, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. And every time you say later, you're gambling with something you can never get back. Your time. Let's get brutally honest. Most of us don't lack time. We waste it. We wake up with a full day, and by nightfall, we've given hours to screens, excuses, and distractions that do nothing to bring us closer to who we want to become. We don't suffer from lack of talent. We suffer from lack of urgency because deep down we believe there's always more time. But the Stoics knew better. They trained themselves to live each day as if it were their last, not with panic, but with precision, with purpose. Seneca called it the shortness of life, not because life is short by nature, but because we make it short by squandering it. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Ask yourself, how many days have you lost to waiting? Waiting to feel motivated? Waiting until the pressure is unbearable? Waiting until the pain of regret outweighs the pain of action? Why wait until it hurts to start healing? Laziness is seductive. It whispers, you deserve a break. But it's a liar. Because the kind of break it offers is not restoration, it's stagnation. The longer you sit in it, the heavier it gets. And the cruel trick is that the less you do, the less energy you have. But action, small, consistent action, builds momentum. It rewires your mind. It makes you stronger. The Stoics had a remedy for this. Live in the present moment. Not as a vague spiritual idea, but as a practical tool. Stop saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Ask instead, what can I do right now? Right now you can take a breath. Right now you can put your phone down. Right now you can open the book, start the workout, write the sentence. The smallest effort made now is worth more than the greatest intention saved for later. Think of Cato the Younger, a man who lived and died for principle. When the Roman Senate collapsed under corruption and fear, Cato didn't hesitate. He didn't say, let me wait and see how things play out. He acted. Every day he trained his body, his mind, and his soul to be unshakable. Because he knew, the longer you wait to live with purpose, the harder it becomes to find it. So if you find yourself stuck in laziness, don't wait for a jolt of energy. Don't beg for inspiration. Just move. One small thing, one disciplined act, one decision that says, I'm done wasting my life. That's how you break the chain. That's how you rise. And once you feel that spark, the clarity that comes from action, you'll wonder why you ever thought waiting was safer than beginning. Remember, no one has ever reached the end of their life and said, I wish I had put things off more. What they regret is hesitation, the time they gave to fear and delay. Don't be that person. Be the one who starts now, because life isn't waiting for you, and the Stoic path is clear. Neither should you. Number 3, make good habits. The Stoics didn't believe in dramatic life overhauls or overnight transformations. They believed in habits, quiet, repeated actions that shape your soul. Because who you are is not defined by what you say you want to do, but by what you actually do, daily, consistently, and especially when no one is watching. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Susuridi. This is the essence of Stoicism. You become who you want to be through the steady discipline of habit. Good habits are more than routines. They are your compass. They are how your values take form in the real world. You say you want to be strong? Show me your workout. You say you want wisdom? Show me the books you read, the questions you ask, the silence you sit in. You say you want to be more present? Let me see how you begin your mornings, how often you pause before reacting, how deeply you listen when others speak. Most people treat habits like a temporary fix, something to try for 30 days. The Stoics saw them differently. They saw habits as a lifelong commitment to excellence. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal as a trend. He wrote each morning to ground himself in truth and remind himself of what really mattered. That wasn't productivity, it was spiritual training. He was building a fortress inside his mind, one brick at a time, every single day. We often overestimate what we can do in a single day, but underestimate what we can build over time with daily effort. That's where power lives, in the small things. In waking up without snoozing, in taking a cold shower to train discomfort, in meditating for 10 minutes, in putting the phone down at night. These may seem small, but they are seeds. And over time, they grow into something unshakable, character. And make no mistake, your habits are either helping you or hurting you. There's no neutral ground. You're always becoming something. So the question is, what are you becoming through your habits? If your days are full of scrolling, complaining, avoiding, escaping, you're not just wasting time. You're becoming weaker. Not by accident, but by design. But if your habits include intention, discipline, reflection, you're becoming sharper, calmer, more resilient. That's also by design. The Stoics would tell us, excellence is not an act, but a habit. Seneca reminded us that greatness isn't found in moments of glory, but in the discipline of daily choices. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because each time you show up when it's inconvenient, each time you choose virtue over vice, you strengthen something far deeper than your body. You strengthen your will. Let's not forget, the habits you build are also a message to your future self. They're either a gift or a burden. Think 5 years from now. What habits would your future self thank you for? Waking up early, meditating, training your body, reading 1 page a day, protecting your time. These are not just habits. They are the blueprint of your future peace, clarity, and power. And this is why Stoicism matters. It grounds us in action. It tells us that we don't need to change our whole lives overnight. We just need to do what we can, right here, right now. Start small, be consistent, and never underestimate the strength that is built in silence through steady, deliberate effort. So today, don't focus on big abstract goals. Focus on habits, because if you change your habits, you change your identity. And once your identity shifts, everything else follows. That's how transformation happens, not with fireworks, but with footsteps, one after another, until you've walked yourself into the life you were meant to live. Number 4, challenges can be turned into chances. To most people, adversity is something to avoid, a setback. But to the Stoics, challenges were sacred. They were invitations to rise. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This single line contains one of the most powerful Stoic principles, that the obstacle is not something to get around, but something to go through. It's not in your way, it is the way. Think about that. If free said every challenge you face, every betrayal, every failure, every hardship is not just something to endure, it's something to use. It's a forge. A testing ground. A teacher. And when you stop resenting difficulty and start embracing it, you begin to discover your deeper strength. That's what the Stoics trained for. Not comfort, not ease, but resilience. They knew the universe does not owe you smooth roads. It gives you rough terrain so you can become sure-footed. We live in a world obsessed with comfort. Everything is designed to be faster, easier, more convenient. But growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in discomfort, in resistance, in adversity. If you want to grow stronger, you don't lift empty weights. You lift heavy ones. If you want wisdom, you don't avoid failure. You analyze it. You embrace it. You learn from it. The Stoic approach to pain is not to escape, but to ask, how can this shape me? Take Epictetus. Born into slavery, physically disabled, and treated brutally by his master. But instead of being broken by these circumstances, he used them. He became one of the greatest Stoic minds in history, not because life was easy for him, but because he refused to be a victim. He saw suffering not as punishment, but as preparation. His hardships gave him insight, humility, and unshakable inner peace. The same challenges that could have crushed him became the reason people still quote him today. This is the Stoic way, to look at every difficulty and ask, what strength is this calling forth in me? Patience, courage, clarity, humility, endurance? Every storm you face has the potential to awaken a virtue that was dormant within you. But only if you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? That's when the shift happens. That's when you stop being at the mercy of life and start becoming the author of your response. Let's be clear, this isn't toxic positivity. The Stoics didn't sugarcoat suffering. They didn't pretend pain wasn't real. They just refused to let it go to waste. And that's what you must do. When life gets hard, when plans fail, when people betray you, when dreams break, you have two choices: shrink or strengthen, close or open, resist or rise. The Stoics chose to rise, and that's available to you too. But only if you reframe adversity. Stop saying, this shouldn't be happening. Start saying, this is happening, so how do I face it with dignity? That shift in mindset is everything, because it puts the power back in your hands. Suddenly, you're no longer the victim of circumstances. You're the sculptor, using pain as your chisel. And here's what happens next. When you stop running from challenges and begin to face them head on, you build something priceless. Confidence, not arrogance, not ego, but a quiet, grounded belief in your own capacity to handle life. That's unshakable. That's Stoic. And no one can take it from you. So the next time life hits hard, and it will, don't just survive it. Study it. Use it or humor it. Rise through it. Because the Stoics were right. What stands in the way becomes the way. And if you live by that truth, you'll never fear adversity again. You'll welcome it. Because you'll know that on the other side of every challenge is a version of you who's wiser, stronger, and more aligned with your true purpose. Number 5, begin with small steps. In a world that glorifies overnight success and dramatic change, the Stoics offer a quieter truth. Greatness begins small. Every towering tree started as a seed. Every masterpiece began with one stroke. Every wise person started ignorant. That's why the Stoics taught us to never be discouraged by humble beginnings. Epictetus reminded his students, no great thing is created suddenly. If you want to climb a mountain, you don't leap. You take one deliberate step at a time. This principle is more powerful than it sounds because most people don't fail from lack of vision. They fail from overwhelm. They set massive goals, get excited, then freeze. The path ahead feels too long, too hard, too unclear. So they postpone, or worse, they quit before they begin. The Stoics knew this trap. That's why they urged us to break life into manageable actions. You can't control the whole journey, but you can control what you do today. What matters now? What's within reach? Take Marcus Aurelius, writing in the dead of night, in the middle of war, surrounded by betrayal and disease. And yet, what did he do? He didn't try to solve everything at once. He focused on his duty for this day. He wrote, "Do what is necessary and do it now. Expect nothing, fear nothing." Shush, this was the discipline that guided his every move. Not panic, not grand plans, just steady, present action, one task, one moment, one clear thought at a time. When you begin with small steps, you give yourself permission to build momentum. That's the key. Momentum doesn't come from motivation. It comes from movement. Action creates clarity. You don't need the whole map to take the first step. You just need the courage to move. Clean your room. Answer the message you've been avoiding. Write one paragraph. Do 5 push-ups. Meditate for 1 minute. These seem trivial, but they are not. They are the first bricks in the foundation of a stronger self. The Stoics believed that motion, even modest motion, was sacred because it represented agency. The refusal to be paralyzed by fear or perfectionism. When you begin small, you train your mind to focus not on what's missing, but on what's possible. You stop measuring how far you have to go and start appreciating the ground beneath your feet. And slowly you realize the path isn't somewhere out there. You're already on it. Think of Seneca, who advised, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." That means most of our suffering doesn't come from the action itself. It comes from the avoidance of it, from imagining how hard, how big, how far it might be. But when you begin, when you start small, you dismantle that illusion. You realize you can do this. You've just been looking too far ahead. That's why the Stoic method works. It's humble. It's grounded. It doesn't ask you to become a hero overnight. It just asks you to do the next right thing. And then again, and then again. Over time, those steps become strides. And those strides become transformation. But only if you honor the power of the beginning. So if you're feeling stuck, frozen, overwhelmed by the size of your dreams or the weight of your past, stop trying to fix everything all at once. Focus on one thing, one step, one decision you won't regret, and then take it. That's how confidence is built, not from hype, but from history. The history you write each time you choose to act. Remember, even the gods cannot steer a ship that isn't moving. Your life will not change through thought alone. It will change through action. So begin. Begin with small steps. And trust, those small steps are not small at all. They are sacred. They are the doorway to everything you seek. Number 6, develop your purpose through virtue. In the noise of modern life, we're constantly told to find your passion or chase your dream. But what if the Stoics believed that chasing feelings wasn't the path to fulfillment at all? What if they knew that real purpose doesn't come from what excites you, but from what grounds you? For the Stoics, purpose was not about fleeting emotion or self-serving ambition. It was about living a life rooted in virtue, in wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Because when you live by virtue, you don't just find meaning, you become meaning. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about chasing his dream job. He wrote about being a good man in every circumstance. His North Star wasn't success, it was excellence of character. He woke each day asking, what is required of me? Not, what do I feel like doing? Or, what will get me ahead? But what is the right thing to do here? That's a different kind of power, one that doesn't depend on luck, trends, or the opinions of others. One that cannot be taken from you, no matter how the world shifts. And this is the essence of Stoic purpose. It is not something you discover like a buried treasure. It is something you build through action. You forge it each time you choose honesty over deceit, discipline over indulgence, courage over fear. Your purpose becomes clear not through thought, but through doing. It lives in your decisions, in how you treat people, in what you tolerate, in what you walk away from. Your purpose is revealed every time you align your behavior with your principles. Seneca put it plainly, life is long if you know how to use it. But most people use it chasing validation, applause, possessions. That path leads to exhaustion, not purpose, because it's built on things outside your control. And the Stoics warned us, if your peace depends on what you cannot control, you'll always be at the mercy of the world. But if your purpose is built on virtue, you carry peace with you, no matter where you go. So how do you live this? You begin by defining your core values, not the ones that sound good, but the ones you're willing to suffer for. Is it honesty? Then tell the truth, even when it costs you. Is it discipline? Then act with integrity, even when no one's watching. Is it service? Then give, even when it's inconvenient. These are not glamorous paths, but they are the foundation of unshakable identity. And here's what happens when you live by virtue. Life becomes simpler, not easier, but clearer. You no longer wonder if you're on the right path. You know because you're guided by principles that don't change with emotion or circumstance. You begin to wake with direction, move with confidence, and rest without regret. Not because every day is perfect, but because you lived it well. Look at Cato the Younger, a Stoic politician who refused to compromise with corruption. While others sold their souls for power, Cato stood firm, alone if necessary. He wasn't chasing popularity. He was anchored in principle. And though he died by his own hand, he lived a life of such moral clarity that even his enemies admired him. That's what virtue gives you, a backbone when the world tries to bend you, a compass when everything else feels lost. And yes, it's hard. Living by virtue means sacrifice. It means you may lose popularity, comfort, even opportunity. But you gain something far greater, yourself. You gain the ability to look in the mirror and know you didn't betray who you are for the sake of what you want. That's not weakness. That's strength of the rarest kind. So forget the empty slogans. Forget the search for passion that burns out as fast as it arrives. Build your life on virtue. Define what matters. Live by it daily. Let every decision, every challenge, every opportunity be filtered through your values. That's how the Stoics lived. And that's how you create a purpose that doesn't fade, but fortifies you for a lifetime. Number 7, simplify your life. In a world driven by noise, speed, and endless distraction, the Stoics dared to embrace simplicity. They believed that a cluttered life was a symptom of a cluttered mind, and that peace, clarity, and purpose could only grow in the space we protect. Epictetus warned, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This isn't a call to poverty, it's a call to focus. Because when you remove the unnecessary, what remains is what truly matters. Let's be honest, most people today are drowning in excess. Too many commitments, too many notifications, too many things. And all of it pulls us away from ourselves. The modern world doesn't just steal your time, it steals your attention. And without attention, you lose awareness. Without awareness, you drift. You react. You fill your life with movement, but not meaning. That's not living. That's noise. The Stoics didn't escape the world. They streamlined it. They simplified not just their physical possessions, but their thoughts, their desires, and their routines. They knew that every yes to distraction was a no to discipline, that every possession comes with a cost, your time, your energy, your freedom. So they chose fewer things, but better things. They spoke less, but with more weight. They did less, but with more depth. That's the kind of simplicity that frees the soul. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled over one of the most powerful empires in history, didn't fill his life with luxury. He filled it with reflection, stillness, study, service. In his meditations, he reminded himself constantly, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That one idea, a focus on mortality, stripped away everything unimportant. And what remained was a life of presence, action, and virtue. So what does it mean to simplify your life? It means decluttering your environment, not for aesthetics, but for clarity. A clean space is a mirror of a clean mind. It means protecting your mornings, starting the day without reaching for your phone, reclaiming the first hour for your inner life, not the outside world. It means learning to say no to obligations that drain you, to people who confuse you, to habits that steal your attention. Simplifying is not about doing less. It's about doing what matters better. It also means simplifying your desires. So much of our suffering comes not from what we lack, but from the illusion that we need more. Seneca wrote, "Being poor is not having too little, it is wanting more." And that's the trap. We chase what others have, what culture tells us we should want, and in doing so, we trade our peace for pressure. But when you let go of excess desire, you begin to feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Enough. And here's the truth. Most won't tell you simplicity isn't weak. It's not passive. It's not boring. It's strategic. Empiricism. It is the deliberate, disciplined removal of what doesn't serve your highest self. And it takes strength, because saying yes to everything is easy. Saying no, that requires vision, clarity, conviction. The Stoics simplified their lives not because they had less ambition, but because they wanted to aim their energy like a spear, straight, sharp, and unstoppable. When you simplify your life, you create space for everything that truly matters. Silence, reflection, presence, connection, and action rooted in purpose. You stop performing, you stop competing, you stop numbing, and you begin living fully, intentionally, and on your own terms. So look around you. What are you carrying that you don't need? What noise can you silence? What weight can you lay down? The path of the Stoic is not about adding more, but removing what obscures your light. Strip away the clutter. Return to what's essential. Because in that simplicity, you will find not just peace, but power. The kind that doesn't shout, doesn't chase, but simply is. Unshakable, undistracted, and finally free. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need to wait for motivation. All you need is to begin. The Stoics didn't preach from mountaintops. They lived their philosophy in the chaos of real life. They understood that clarity comes through action, not overthinking. And now that same path is open to you. Every one of these lessons is a tool, but tools only work if you pick them up. So start small. Start now. Let discipline shape your days. Let virtue guide your choices, and let simplicity clear your mind. Whether the steps are easy or hard doesn't matter. What matters is that they are yours, that you move forward, that you take command. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, don't let it fade. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, live the lesson. One day, one choice, one action at a time. The Stoic path isn't for tomorrow. It's for today. So walk it with courage. You're ready. Now go one on zo.